You're tuned in to the 3 Pixels podcast. This episode is produced by Martin Gregory.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the 3 Pixels podcast. This is the Gaming Corner and I'm Martin Gregory. Today I'll be talking about E3's 2019 conference. E3 2019 is fast approaching, functioning as the games industry's Champions League final. I for one am excited to see these games up and coming in the near future because typically this is where developers reveal the latest games that they've been working on. Upcoming games that many people are waiting for, such as Cyberpunk 2077, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, as well as Final Fantasy VII Remake, among a plethora of different games. So that's why I'm going to select a few that are confirmed or I have a sneaking suspicion that may make an appearance based on the company's list on the official E3 homepage. This has been taken from E3's homepage. Electronic Arts attendees can play unreleased EA games. EA will host a series of live streams on the Saturday to showcase a variety of different games. We know that Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order will be there, as well as Apex Legends. The smart money is on the reveal of Season 2, Battlefield 5 DLC, and the upcoming slate of EA Sports games, and more. Firstly, let's talk about the upcoming Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. The trailer for the game was released last month, and in the trailer it had a release date for this game on November 15th, 2019. What I took from this is that you play as a Jedi just after Order 66, where the Republic clones have been given the order to execute Jedi on the spot. Now you play as a main character who's hiding from the newly formed Empire or trying to lead a normal life without the Jedi Order around. But of course, the Force calls to him and he can't be a normal person because after all, he's a former Jedi. PlayStation Magazine got the chance to interview the game's director, Stig Emerson. Here, he's talking about the combat mechanics. He calls it thoughtful combat, adding, "It's not about the body count, it's more about really figuring out what is the best angle to get onto your enemy, and what's the best way to take him down. That's not only the single combatants, but it's also like an arrangement of specific enemies that you have to be given in any fight." I'm pretty excited about the new Star Wars game, Jedi Fallen Order, especially the fact that it's with Stig Emerson. He's done a lot of work on the God of War series, and he was the director of God of War 3, which was highly critically acclaimed, scoring 9.8s and 9.3s from GameSpot and IGN respectively. And if there's one thing that God of War series have always done really well, it's story-driven games. And that's what Jedi Fallen Order is rumoured to be, a first-person, story-driven game, a massive arc. And I think you have the key ingredients to make it a really decent game. So I look forward to hearing more, and I will definitely be covering this just after E3 to see if we've learned anything more or new on the game. Bethesda will also be at E3. The company is not expected to talk about the Elder Scrolls 6 or Starfield, which is a shame because I'd like to know more about these games, specifically the Elder Scrolls 6, as I'm a huge fan of the game series. I think it'd be more about the company's direction, as well as some people have rumoured that they try and sweep the mess that was Fallout 76 under the rug. I'm sure there'll be some sort of release trailer in Elder Scrolls 6, even if it was like the title card that we saw a few months prior. And I'm 100% sure that we'll be getting some Doom Eternal gameplay, which is fine, which is great. I think Bethesda is probably one to really watch out for. I don't know too much what they're going to be talking about, and if the rumours are true that they're not going to be talking too much about Elder Scrolls 6 or Starfield, it'd be interesting what they do have to say. I generally do think it'll be about the company's direction. Hopefully I'm wrong. You know, now I'm saying this, I'm sure all they'll talk about is those two games, Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield, which would be even better. But only time will tell. I bring this up purely because this is the one that I'm really going to be following on the day, as well as afterwards, try and dissect what they're really saying. So yeah, I believe it'll be a decent conference, and not a make or break one, but one of those ones where I feel like Bethesda need to get their acts back together, especially after the aforementioned Fallout 76. So moving on from Bethesda, something that is very highly speculative of what might be said, to something that has the potential to really steal the show, and that is Square Enix Firstly, it will announce Final Fantasy 16 and more. This conference has the potential to have the most game announcements, as well as fans we expecting big things, and hopefully Square Enix does deliver that. So the first one I'm going to talk about is Dragon Quest Builders 2. Dragon Quest Builders was an unusual game that turned out rather well. It was praised of its mix of Dragon Quest charm and Minecraft-like construction. There's a strong chance it'll make an appearance during Square Enix's press conference at E3. Talking of Dragon Quest 11, Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition, Square Enix's Dragon Quest 11 is heading to Nintendo Switch sometime this year. As for the definitive version of the game, on this port it will include some bonus extras. And finally, Final Fantasy VII Remake. FF7 Remake is probably one of the most highly anticipated remake in a long time. However, it's released back in 1977. This remake will look so much different to the original. The game will follow a more of a modern design, featuring a third-person camera and real-time combat. Updated character designs ride a line between realistic and stylized art. FF7 Remake has been in the workings for a while now, since being first announced back in E3 2015. I'm sure fans just want the game to come out now, but as we all know, Square Enix does like to take its time. Just look at Kingdom Hearts 3. Speaking of which, not real much has been rumoured, and I'm just going to throw my hat on into the ring here and say that maybe some Kingdom Hearts 3 DLC might be announced. I know that's a very big long shot and a high probability of not happening due to the fact that it's very rare and I don't think it has happened. I don't want to say it's never happened, just in case, but I don't think DLC has actually happened for the Kingdom Hearts series. However, in a new generation of consoles, as well as a different landscape, people love DLC. It keeps the game fresh and exciting, and there's definitely a couple of areas in the game that definitely needed a bit more additional content too. So I'm in hope of that happening. It probably won't, like I said. However, you never know with Square Enix, and you never know what's going to happen at E3. Now let's talk about two heavyweight games. One of them is confirmed and it'll be talked about, and possible demos of the game, and the other one is very highly touted to have some sort of trailer and some gameplay, and that is The Last of Us 2 and Cyberpunk 2077. Firstly, let's just get the bad news straight out of the way, but it looks like both games won't see the light of the day until early 2020. Both games are set to have some sort of reveal at E3 this year. However, many gamers expect to have both games before Christmas. A quote here I have: The Last of Us 2 was also planned for fall 2019, but I actually heard it just got bumped to early 2020, possibly February. This quote was from industry insider Jason Schreier. So quickly back to Cyberpunk 2077. Ever since the fantastic gameplay reveal last year, CD Projekt Red's new open world sci-fi action RPG has come one of the most hotly anticipated games. I've already done an episode on this game when it was first announced. However, I'll give you my quick updated thoughts, and they are: the game will probably become a Game of the Year candidate if done right. I'm still a little skeptical on some of the game mechanics and the overall story, and the overall story has been thrown around different rumors about it, so I'm trying not to listen too much about that, as well as I think it's such a big game that a couple of things could go wrong. However, Projekt Red has been really good up to this point. They've never failed to deliver such an expert game, and I'm looking forward to see what they have to offer this time round. So I'm going to now quickly talk about some games that are rumoured and definitely confirmed at the E3 event. Just real quick, honestly, I could be here for hours talking about each individual game and high speculation of what could happen. So just a quick rundown of just games that pique my interest, but I just don't have enough time for in this episode to go fully in depth. The first one is Ancestors: The Humankind Odyssey. This game is highly ambitious as you play as humanoids throughout different periods of ancestral time, and it's from the creator from the Assassin's Creed series. Babylon's Fall, another game that's published by Square Enix. It's due out in 2019 later on this year, so expect more info to drop at E3. Babylon's Fall popped up with a teaser trailer at E3 2018. that didn't show gameplay, but it did give a very intriguing look at its world. The trailer moved through the timeline of a huge high fantasy world, highlighting a number of major events, including a few battles, at least one apocalypse, and what looked like to be an angel burning a bunch of people alive in something called Punishment. So yeah, it's good that I know very little about this game so far, and they've kept it under wraps for such a long time. Hopefully it's worth the wait. And honestly, it was one of those games that I sort of forgot was announced at E3 2018. I know it's pretty bad, but until I was researching on 2019 what's going on, I rediscovered it. So honestly, this has really piqued my interest and becomes such a great game. Honestly, I look forward to this massively. Battletoads, Battletoads is coming back. First announced in a trailer at Xbox E3 2018's press conference. The infamously hard side-scrolling beating 'em up game is supposed to hit Xbox One and PC sometime in 2019. I ain't got really much to talk about this game. I just think it's such a strange, odd game. Another one is Bayonetta 3. Platinum Games has more from Bayonetta on the way, and it's coming exclusively to Nintendo Switch, which is fantastic for the Switch. This just spells great news for the Nintendo Switch, getting some prestige games with carries a lot of weight in the industry like Bayonetta. One that I know one of my friends is really going to be happy about, and it's Beyond Good and Evil 2. We got a pretty good look at Beyond Good and Evil 2 at E3 2018 with lots of gameplay on display and Ubisoft's talk of a beta for the game that's expected to launch sometimes before the end of the year. Wow, this game has been so long anticipated for a sequel, and I honestly can't wait to see what they have in store for Beyond Good and Evil 2. Borderlands 3 revealed at PAX East 2019. Borderlands 3 is a long-awaited sequel to that many fans of a loot-driven co-op FPS have been waiting for. A game series that I've never really got into, but I definitely admire and respect the work and effort that's been put into these and the longevity that it's had. Probably one that I won't be looking out for, but I know many people will, so I thought I'd give it an honorary mention in this. And finally, maybe even an untitled Dragon Age game. We've heard nothing official about BioWare's next Dragon Age game since an announcement trailer dropped during the Game Awards in December 2018. However, in January 2019, BioWare job listing suggested a fourth Dragon Age game would have some sort of multiplayer element to the game. That's all for the honorary mentions of games. Honestly, I cannot wait for E3 to come round and the new announcements of different brand new shiny games being released in the near future. Like I said, this is definitely like a Champions League final, the Super Bowl, the cream of the crop, as they say, of the gaming industry. And I love this sort of season where a lot of game developers bring out new trailers and really showcase what they've been working on in the past year. And this is one that people just circle the date on to say, we need to showcase something here at E3. So obviously the date runs from June the 11th to June the 13th. And hopefully I'll have so much more news to talk about and different updates on different games that you love. So that is it for the Gaming Corner this week. If you've enjoyed it or if I've missed a favourite game that you want me to talk about, you can contact us at hello@the3pixels.com. Find us on our Twitter @the3pixelspod, as well as our Facebook, The 3 Pixels. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. And finally, thank you very much for listening. And hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Thank you very much.
You've been listening to the 3 Pixels podcast with Alan Taylor, Martin Gregory, and me, Ben Ridley. Music provided by Epidemic Sound. With that, thank you for listening. We'll see you next time. Good night.